Hello, my little yarnivores and spiderettes. Fiber Spider back again with another tutorial just for you. Now, this is going to be something a little similar, a little bit different, but I love it regardless. This is the Cloister Shell Poncho. Now, we've done the shawl, we've done the blanket, and I've converted the blanket into a poncho pattern, just like a previous video on how to make the granny square into a poncho as well. Same sort of formulaic kind of difference. Um, and if we pull our piece down just a little bit, we have our neck opening. And the initial chaining that I have come up with is 72 chains. Now that's a fairly big opening. So I'm also going to show you how to shape the neck and decrease a little bit so that it won't be quite so much of a shoulder drooper draper deal going on. Now for this piece, by the way, I love the way the colors turned out on this, don't you? I think it is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So for this piece, it was Lion Brand Ferris Wheel, not sponsored for this video, but I love this yarn. Actually found it at Walmart, believe it or not. And so this colorway is Wild Violets. Yes. And I think I went into 5 skeins. I don't think I used the 5th skein, but in order to get where I wanted to be, I'm pretty sure that I needed about 5 skeins, 4 or 5 thereabouts for this piece. Of course, size is relative, so you may need more, you may need less. Each skein is about 270 yards. It is 100% acrylic, and it is a weight of 4. Now, with that being said, it recommends a size H crochet hook because even though it's a weight of 4, it's kind of a thin weight of 4. But I, on the other hand, because I don't follow rules in the conventional sense, I used a size K, which is a 6.5 millimeter hook, as opposed to a 5 millimeter hook. So that being said, I wanted some nice drapiness going on, and I really think that I hit the mark with this, and I love it. It's a very simple pattern. If you have seen my videos on the Cloister shell shawl or the blanket, you'll know just how easy this is. It's just a few row repeat. It's very simple. The only real trick behind this particular pattern is the initial startup row because you're working within the chain, and that can be a little bit of a beastie, but we will persevere. Yes. So for today's example, I am going to be using, again, Lion Brand, this time the Pound of Love. Again, not sponsored, but I wanted to let you know what it is that I was using. So without further ado, we shall get started. So you are going to need, let me just get this out of the way. It's a little distracting. There we go. You are going to need a chain of 72 chains. Now, if you find that you're using a rather thin yarn or a smaller hook, and after you slip stitch your chain into a ring and it doesn't fit over your head comfortably, then I would suggest going up in a hook size. Me, like I said, I'm using a size K, but if you're using a rather thin yarn, then you might be inclined to use a smaller hook. Fiddle around with it, Now, of course, this is rather large for a neck opening, which is good because I plan on decreasing anyway, all right? So if it's larger than it is smaller, hey, that's a good thing. We can work with that. But if it's too small, well, use a bigger size hook or a thicker yarn. That's what I would suggest, all right? So do your 72 chains and we will meet back up. I'm getting all tongue-tied already, my goodness. For the first round. Okie dokie. All right, so for our first round, I already did my chain, as you can see, 72 chains with my size K hook and my Pound of Love yarn. Now we're going to need to connect this. As always, be sure that your chain is not twisted, otherwise you are going to be entering Pain City, and that's not a place we want to go. So, making sure that your chain is not twisted, we're going to do a slip stitch into that first chain. I like to go underneath both loops because it creates a cleaner platform, if you will, to work on later. So slip stitch. There we go. Shaboom. All right, so now for our first round, we're going to start by chaining up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and double crochet into where we joined with our slip stitch right in there. Double crochet right into there. Now this is going to count as a double crochet, chain 3, and then we're doing another double crochet. There we go, right into that same spot right there. All right. Chain 1. Okay, so now the reason why I also said that the first round is a little bit fiddly and finicky is because the number of chains is very important as far as how many we skip, and it alternates back and forth. So it can be a little bit confusing, but follow along and we can do it. So for right now, we're going to skip the first 2 chains and then going into the third chain with a double crochet. Again, going underneath both V's, both loops, and then 2 more double crochets following thereafter. For a cluster of 3 doubles. All right. And my yarn, pull that out a little bit. Okie dokie. All right, so right here, we skipped 2 chains. Chain 1. By the way, there's always a chain 1 in between. So we skipped 2 chains here. Right now, we're going to skip 3 chains and do a double crochet into the next. So 1, 2, 3, going into that 4th double with a double. Chain 3, and then double crochet into that same stitch to create an arch. Chain 1, skip 3, 1, 2, 3, into the 4th, do a double crochet, and then 2 more to make another cluster. There we go. Chain 1, skip 2 chains, 1 and 2, going into that 3rd one with a double crochet. And this is where we're actually going to be making a corner. So we have a double crochet, chain 3, double crochet into that same stitch, chain 3, double crochet into that same stitch again, and that makes up our corner with 2 arches. Okay, so now we have a completed side. Now, yes, I know it looks confusing, but it works, trust me. So basically, to do a quick recap, we have a chain 3, double crochet, a chain 3 space, and another double crochet. That's going to make up half of our first corner. Okay, we skipped 2 chains, we did 3 doubles, skip 3 chains, do an archway, skip 3 chains, do another cluster of 3 doubles, skip 2 chains. So basically it's skipping 2 chains here and here, skipping 3 chains here and here. Alrighty, and like I said, we have a chaining of 1, a chaining of 1, a chaining of 1, and a chaining of 1. All right, sort of a little bit of a breakdown, okay? But of course, we are going to do this full round on camera because I like to be thorough, you know. So chain 1, and then we skip the first 2 chains going into the third with a double. There we are. And then 2 more doubles for a cluster. Now you could go under, just one of the loops, but honestly, because this is your neckline, I would not recommend that. I would say for this project, bite the bullet and go underneath both loops. It can be a little bit trickier and a little bit more time consuming, but I think ultimately it's worth it. So chain 1, and then we skip 3 chains. 1, 2, 3. Going into the fourth, we're going to make another arch. So that's double crochet. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Don't want to lose that. No. Double crochet, chain 3, and double crochet into that same stitch. Chain 1, skip 2 chains. No, sorry, 3. Skip 3 chains. 1, 2, 3. And then we do our cluster of 3 doubles. There we go. 1 and 2 and 3, chain 1, and then skip 2 chains, 1 and 2, and then into the third we're going to make another corner. So that's double crochet, chain 3, double crochet into the same stitch, chain 3, and double crochet into the same stitch. So now we've got 2 sides done. See, we've got this one corner here, and then we've got a cluster, and an arch, and another cluster, and then another corner with 2 arches. You see? All right, so we're going to finish this round up, and then we will go from there. All right, so moving right along, footloose and fancy free, we just did our corner. So chain 1, skip the next 2 chains, going into the third chain with a double, and then 2 more doubles to make our cluster. Come on. Whoa, I'm spazzing out tonight. I don't know what's wrong with me. Come on. Then one more. Then again, working within the chain, yes, it can be. I know I've said this a million times, but it can be very fiddly. All right, so we've got our first cluster, chain 1, and then we skip 3 chains. So that's 1 and 2 and 3, working into the 4th chain. Double crochet, chain 3, and double crochet into that same chain. And we've created a nice arch. Chain 1, skip 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, going into that 4th with a double, and then 2 more doubles for our cluster. There we go. Chain 1, skip 2 chains, 1 and 2, going into that 3rd chain where we're going to make our corner of 2 arches. So that's double crochet, chain 3, double crochet, chain 3, and double crochet. And those 3 double crochets are all into that same spot, like so. Okay, get my yarn coming along here. There we go. And so now we only need one more side. And again, you want to be sure, ultimately, that your piece is not twisted on itself. All right, so now chain 1, skip the next 2 chains, going into the 3rd with the double. And I didn't catch all my plies there, I don't think. Hang on. There we go. So that's 1. And 2. And 3. Chain 1, skip the next 3 chains, 1, 2, 3. And then double crochet, chain 3, because right now we're making another arch. Double crochet into that same stitch. We've got our arch done. Chain 1, skip the next 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, double crochet into the next 3 chains. All right, and then chain 1, and then we skip the next 2 chains, 1 and 2, and we can go into that next chain, or we can go into the base here, either or, And I think I might have miscounted by 1 chain, but 1 chain will not be the death of me. So I'm going to go right in and double crochet right into that base there, like so. Chain 3, and then slip stitch to the 1, 2, 3, 3rd chain from the bottom there. There we go. And slip stitch. Da-da-da-da! And we have our first round. All right, let me lay it out for you. And yes, like I said, I know this is going to look a little bit weird and wonky, but it will make sense as we go along. Okay, and also all of the rounds after this will be infinitely easier. Trust me. All right, so onwards to round 2. Alrighty, onwards to round 2. Now, even though I said it wasn't bothering me, it was bothering me. And what I did was I actually undid this last edge, this last side, and I found that yes, I did mistakenly miscount the number of chains. Yeah, it happens to even me. And so I fixed that, and then at the end, I chained 1, double crocheted into that corner there, chained 3, and then did my slip stitch to the 3rd chain from the bottom. Just a little recap. Yes, I do make mistakes. I do own up to it, and I do try to fix them. All right, so with that being said, let's move on. So for round 2, going to start by chaining up 3, 1, 2, and 3. And on that 3rd chain, you might want to go a little bit loose because we are going to have to slip stitch into it later, just a little bit. So after chaining up 3 for your first double crochet, into this first archway, we need 7 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, then chain 1, and then into the middle double crochet, do a single double crochet, just 1, and pull out a bit more yarn here. Chain 1, and then into the next archway, 7 more double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, chain 1, double crochet into the middle double crochet once again, chain 1. All right, and now we've reached our corner. So into each arch, you need 7 double crochets and a double crochet into that middle double crochet. So hopping right into the arch, 7 double crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then double crochet into the top of that post, that double crochet, 7 double crochets into this arch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Chain 1, double crochet into the middle double crochet of the cluster. Pull out some more yarn as needed. Chain 1, 7 double crochets into the next archway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. chain 1, double crochet into the center middle double crochet of the cluster, chain 1, and yes, we've reached another corner. So into that first archway, 7 doubles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, double crochet into the double crochet, and then 7 double crochets into the next arch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, we got 2 more sides to go. Let me just get myself situated and we shall continue on. All right, so moving right along, we just did our corner. So chain 1, double crochet into the middle double crochet of the cluster below, chain 1, 7 double crochets into the next arch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, chain 1, double crochet into the middle double of the cluster below, chain 1, and we reached another corner. So into that first arch, 7 doubles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, double crochet into that double crochet, sort of anchors it in place, and then 7 double crochets into the second arch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I've got a little fluff ball. All right, chain 1, double crochet into the middle double crochet, chain 1, and then into the next arch, 7 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, chain 1, double crochet into the middle double crochet of the cluster below, chain 1, and we've almost reached the end. So we already did one of our arches. Well, we need to do the other arch. So into that arch, 7 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All right, and then do a slip stitch into the 1, 2, 3, third chain from the bottom. It's at the very top of our first double crochet, right there. Slip stitch into that chain, and there you go. that is the end of round 2. And it's actually really as easy as that. Now, of course, I'm going to do a repeat for you because I'm not going to leave you hanging. You know I'm not. I like to be thorough, but really it's these 2 rounds are the rest of the whole piece, essentially. All right. Very, very simple. All right. So without further ado, let's go on to round 3. All right, round 3. I'm going to start by creating our arches again, just like we did down here. So to do that, chain up 1, 2, 3. That's our first double crochet. Then chain 3 again. So it's a total of 6 chains. And then into where we slip stitched, do a double crochet. There we are. And ta-da! Right, so that is going to be this arch, the comparison of this arch down here. Okay, so then chain 1 and skipping the first 2 doubles, going into the third with a double, and the next 2 for a cluster. Just like we had down here, right? Chain 1, and then into this double crochet, we're going to make another arch. So right into here, double crochet, chain 3, and into that same double crochet, another double crochet. So now we have ourselves an arch. Chain 1, and then skipping the first 2 doubles, going into that third one with a double crochet, and then 2 more for a cluster of 3. Chain 1 into this solitary double crochet. We're going to make another arch, so that is double crochet, chain 3, double crochet. Sorry. All right, so I got my double crochet, chain 3, and double crochet. All right, so then we have reached our corner. So we got to chain 1, skip the next 2 double crochets going into the third, fourth, and fifth. So that's 1, 2, 3, chain 1, skip the next 2 doubles, and we're going to be going into that anchoring double crochet right there, right here, with a double crochet, chain 3, double crochet into that same spot, chain 3, double crochet into the same spot. So we have our 2 arches again. Chain 1, skip the next 2 double crochets going to the third, fourth, and fifth with double crochets for another cluster. Chain 1, skipping right along to that single double crochet. Going to make another arch. So into that double crochet, chain 3, and double crochet, chain 1, skip those first 2 doubles going into the third, fourth, and fifth with double crochets for a cluster of 3. chain 1, going into the next solitary double crochet with an arch, so that's double crochet, chain 3, double crochet, chain 1, and we reached, yep, another corner. So skip those first 2 doubles, going to the 3rd, 4th, and 5th with double crochets to create a cluster. Chain 1, skip the next 2 double crochets, and again, we're going to be working into that spine, that center double crochet. We're going to make 2 more arches, so that's double crochet, chain 3, double crochet, whoa, hello, so I've got my first arch. Now I need another, so chain 3, double crochet into that same stitch. So that's 3 double crochets all going into that same spot. Okay, how far along are we with this round? Okay, still need 2 more sides. All right, so we shall continue. Alrighty. All right, so after doing our 2 arches, chain 1, skip the next 2 double crochets going into the 3rd, 4th, and 5th with doubles to create another cluster of 3 doubles. Chain 1, moving right along to the next solitary double crochet. We need an arch, so double crochet, chain 3, and double crochet. Whoa, picked up an extra ply there. There we go. Chain 1, skip the first 2 doubles going to the 3rd, 4th, and 5th to create a cluster. Chain 1, go to the next solitary double crochet. Going to make another arch, so double crochet, chain 3, double crochet, chain 1, skip the next 2 doubles going into the 3rd, 4th, and 5th with doubles to create another cluster. There we go. Chain 1, skipping the next 2 double crochets going to that center one, going to make 2 more arches, so double crochet, chain 3, into the same space, double crochet, chain 3, and into that same stitch again, double crochet. All right, so we've got our 2 arches. Now we're on to the last edge of our round. Always very gratifying, don't you think? Okay, so skip the next 2 doubles, going into the 3rd, 4th, and 5th to create another cluster. Chain 1, skip over to the next solitary double, do a double crochet, chain 3, and double crochet. So we've got an archway now. Chain 1, skip the next 2 doubles, going to the 3rd, 4th, and 5th for a new cluster, if I can get my act together. Oh dear. Okay, so that's 1 and 2 and 3. Chain 1, into the next solitary double crochet, do a double, chain 3, and another double, chain 1, skip the next 2 doubles, going to the 3rd, 4th, and 5th for another cluster. There we go. Chain 1. And then last but not least, we need to create another arch. Just one though. So going in to the base here, see, right here is the double crochet that we created in the middle there. Well, going right in. Now you can go over here, or you can go in over here on this side. Either way is acceptable. Double crochet, chain 3, and then into the 3rd chain from the bottom, slip stitch. Ta-da! So we've got our 2 arches in the corner, just like we need them. All right, so again, I'm going to lay this out for you. Let me scooch back here a little bit. And also, yes, if you haven't tried it already, I would strongly suggest, before you make this piece any bigger, will it go over your head comfortably? Now, if there is a lot of room, not to worry. We can shrink this aperture, this hole, down a little bit, so that do not worry about that. But if it's too small, again, I would stress use a bigger size hook, or perhaps a thicker yarn to go with that bigger hook. But isn't this gorgeous? I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. All right, so we're going to go on to round 4, which would be the round that I would suggest that you end on, an even number round. You could go either way with that. I mean, when I did my piece, I ended on an odd number. However it is that it works out for you is perfectly fine. But I like having the shells, whichever works for you. So we shall continue on with round number 4. Alrighty, so round 4. If you're still with me, thank you. I like having you with me. All right, so moving right along, we're going to be filling up these arch spaces as we go along, just like we did down here. Like I said, it's only a 2 round repeat. It doesn't seem like it, but it is. So we're going to start by chaining up 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then into the arch space 7 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, chain 1, into the center double crochet, do a double crochet, chain 1, and then into the next arch, 7 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now, I would strongly suggest that either after you finish each cluster, each fan, to make sure and count that you actually have 7, or after you finish each side to count your fans, because, well, it can be rather daunting, after you finish the whole round and then you're doing the next one and you're like, wait a minute, I can't skip 2 and then double crochet 3 and then leave off the last 2 because I don't have 7. Yeah, that can be rather frustrating. And yes, it has happened to me. But, I always say, count twice, do the work once, All right, so after doing your 7 doubles, chain 1, double crochet into the middle double, chain 1 into the next arch, 7 doubles. And if I hadn't made these mistakes myself, I wouldn't say anything, but oh, I have, trust me. And I would rather waste the time than have you waste the time, trust me. See, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 2 more for a total of 7. Chain 1, double crochet into the center, double crochet, chain 1, and then we've reached our corner, so that's 7 doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Double crochet into that double crochet to anchor it down. Then 7 double crochets into this arch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Again, yes, I'm going to double count. 3 and 4. I've got my 1 that is anchored. And then 3, and then 4. Perfect. Gotta love it. All right, scooting right along. I tell you, I love how easy this pattern is, and I hope you guys do too, because it's one of those where, yeah, it's a 2-round repeat, and you really don't have to agonize too much about it. So, chain 1, double crochet into the middle double crochet, chain 1, 7 double crochets into the arch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Chain 1, double crochet into the middle double crochet, chain 1, 7 double crochets into the next arch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, chain 1, double crochet into the middle double crochet, chain 1, and yes, we've reached another corner. So that's 7 doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Double crochet into that corner double crochet to anchor it. Then 7 double crochets into the next arch. 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All right, we're getting there. All right, so we've got 2 sides left. So after finishing up both arches here, chain 1, double crochet into the middle double crochet, chain 1 again, fill up the next arch with 7 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, chain 1, double crochet into the middle double crochet of the cluster below, chain 1, fill up the next arch with 7 doubles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, chain 1, double crochet into the middle double crochet of the cluster down below. Scoot your work over and pull out some more yarn. All right. Chain 1, and then into the corner arches, 7 doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Double crochet into that double crochet to anchor it. 7 double crochets into the next arch. 1, 2, 3. Whoa. That was 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, chain 1, double crochet into the middle double crochet of the cluster below, chain 1, 7 doubles into the next arch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Chain 1, double crochet into the middle double crochet of the cluster down below, chain 1, 7 double crochets into the next arch. It's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Chain 1, double crochet into the middle double crochet of the cluster down below and chain 1. And now we just need to fill up one more arch with 7 doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then, last but not least, slip stitch into the top third chain of our middle anchoring double crochet. Ta-da! All right. And then, quite simply, just keep going on in the same exact fashion, repeating rounds, not rows, rounds 3 and 4 over and over and over until your piece is big enough. Now, yes, it looks a little bit weird like this, but when you fold it in half, corner to corner, it makes a bit more sense. So this is your neck opening right here, and this is where it would rest upon your shoulders, right here and right here. And this point and the point in the back would be covering you. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to also show you how you can decrease the neckline so that it will be more shaped, more fitted, and a bit smaller to fit you more properly. All right, so we shall continue. So listen, everybody, I really hope that you are enjoying this tutorial so far. In the next part, I am going to show you how to decrease and shape the neck. I'm not able to get it all in during this video due to time constraints, but we shall be back and I will show you how you can do that as well. So listen, if you're enjoying this, please give a little thumbs up button down below. I appreciate your appreciation, as you very well know. And also, if you haven't done so already, please hit subscribe because I do try to post often, whether it's knitting or crocheting or audiobook narration, or my other YouTube channel, Fiber Spider Games, where I do video game playthrough and commentary. It's a lot of fun. Would like to see you there too. And until next time, I want all of you to stay inspired, stay caffeinated, and above all, stay stitching. I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.